This just in, breaking news, but the El Presidente of CNN has just resigned. And the reason this is important is that if you listen to journalists and people who worked at CNN, they will tell you that it's not a democracy over there. It's more like fascismus. You're told what you're allowed to write. You're told what you're allowed to have opinions on. It's a business. It's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. A lot of people forget that. They think it's the news. Well, it's not really the news. It's a company. It's there to make money. And at the head of the company was Jeff Zucker. So everything that you heard on CNN was going on because Jeff Zucker had his direct or indirect approval. Nothing was being published without his say-so. And what's interesting is that CNN recently was a very moralistic enterprise. It concerned itself with the business of the church, to lecture the American people what is moral and what is immoral. And just like the Catholic Church, it had a fair share of sex scandals. I think it was actually trying to compete with the Catholic Church to see who can get more sex scandals rolling. And recently, guess why the president, Jeff Zucker, stepped down from CNN? Over his failure to disclose a relationship. So I'm pretty sure more spicy news is going to come up from this within the next couple of weeks. But I assume it was something very problematic that led to his resignation. Take into account that usually powerful people don't resign because of their conscience or because they've been called out and they don't want to be hypocrites. No, they're resigning because usually if they don't, something worse happens. Like they're usually taken into a room and they're told, look, you have two choices. Either you resign or we pursue charges. That's what usually happens. I don't know if this is the case of Mr. Zucker, but I wouldn't be shocked if it is. Because again, powerful people don't just resign. They don't, one day everything is fine. The next day is like, no, like there must have been a conversation behind closed doors. So the president, Jeff Zucker, said Wednesday that he is resigning effective immediately. And he said in a memo that part of the investigation into Chris Cuomo's tenure at CNN, he was asked about a consensual relationship with his closest colleague. Now, he doesn't really disclose who this person is, whether it is a woman or a man or a non-binary, we don't know. I wonder if there's equity in Mr. Zucker's dating life. We will never know. Maybe it's a Latinx. But probably we're going to find out. Someone I have worked with for more than 20 years. I acknowledge the relationship evolved in recent years, so it blossomed into something beautiful. I was required to disclose it when it began, but it didn't. I was wrong. As a result, I am resigning today. And again, this is very bizarre, right? Like you have the corpus peak. This is the corpus peak, by the way. It's a black background with white text. Like you're going to see corporations doing it, and whenever you see this, you shouldn't even bother reading it because it's a waste of your time. Like nothing of essence is actually said there. It's just corporate garbage, gobbledygook, as the British like to call it. In an email to staffers and shortly after Zuckers, Jason Kilar, the CEO of CNN parent Warner Media, said, I have accepted Zucker's resignation as chairman of Warner Media News and Sports and president of CNN Worldwide. We thank Jeff for the contributions over the past 9 years. God. So everything that happened at CNN over the past 9 years, Jeff Zucker is to thank. Kilar, how can your name be Kilar though? I hope the YouTube algorithm doesn't flag me because it understands something else. We will be announcing an interim leadership plan shortly. So, like, again, this happened without any notice. Like, it must have been something really big that on a second notice, like yesterday, it's fine. Today, he's resigning, and they don't even have an interim leadership plan. Both of these organizations are at the top of their respective games. I think you're mistaken yourself with Fox News and Joe Rogan, but okay. And are prepared for their next chapters. The real bombshell is that Zucker is resigning for yet another sex scandal at CNN. Yes, like another. I told you, I actually bought a clock, and whenever there was a sex scandal at CNN, I would reset it, but the clock just exploded, like it broke. The springs got detached. It couldn't handle the punishment. I kept resetting it over and over, and the clock went no more. Never again. CNN lost 90% of its ratings in the years since Trump left office. Aww. Who's going to defend your democracy now, America? Your democracy is in shambles without CNN. The Zucker-led network has recently seen its share of disturbing sex scandals. 2 high-ranking CNN producers resigned following the scandals, but both involved child molestation. No, I'm telling you, like CNN and the Catholic Church, they're racing. Not just to, to see who can have more criminals apprehended, but also they're racing to moralize the masses, to push morality onto the heathens. Rick Salame, who was a senior producer at CNN, the lead with Jack Taper, is under criminal investigation following a Project Veritas investigative reporting. And John Griffin, who worked as senior producer on Chris Cuomo's show, was arrested this month for trafficking charges. Okay, like he wanted to play with the big boys. He's not just with one. No, he was trafficking. Taking it up a notch. I mean, if you're at CNN, you have to respect yourself, right? You can't do petty crime. You need to elevate. So there is something seriously wrong with the mainstream media. I know you think. And CNN is possibly the most toxic network of all. Yeah, I mean, it's not Fox News that where this is happening. Even MSNBC keeps their nose clean. When it comes to America's most trusted journalists, who trusts them? I love it, like when it comes to America's most trusted journalists, who trusts them? Oh, you know who does? Other journalists. So other journalists trust each other, probably. It appears that it's too often the case of sex, lies, and video. God, who wrote this? But also, there's more. According to this Daily Mail reporter, among the weirdest things I've heard about the Zucker scandal is that Golast and her husband moved into the apartment above Zucker and his wife. Same building, 1 floor apart. On purpose, while everyone was still married. I think you can make a soap opera about CNN at this point. Some Hollywood executive should pitch it. Life at CNN. That would be interesting. The Cuomo Nepotism Network. Life at the Cuomo Nepotism Network. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.